Hey, I'm John Cannell, and today on Preppy Kitchen we're making the ultimate vanilla cupcakes. So let's get started. First off, set your oven to 350 so it's nice and hot. And now, in a large bowl, we're gonna combine the dry ingredients, starting with 1 2/3 cups of all-purpose flour. That's 213 grams. Using the scale gives you perfectly accurate measurements, but if you're using measuring cups, just make sure to fluff the flour and then sprinkle it into your measuring cup and level it off. We're also adding 1 cup or 200 grams of granulated sugar right inside of our bowl. The sugar isn't making things sweet, but it's also gonna soften the cupcakes and give you a really tender crumb. To puff things up, we're gonna use 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda and 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder. One of my most common questions is why to use baking powder and baking soda? The baking soda needs an acid to react to, and later on, we're gonna add sour cream. So the sour cream is a little acidic, it'll react with the baking soda and puff things up. To round things out and give us some contrast, we're gonna use 1/4 teaspoon of kosher salt. Our scale is done, set that aside, and give this a whisk. Just mix it up until it's nice and combined. There are so many different ways to make cupcakes, and this honestly is the easiest method. We could have done a reverse creaming method. We could have done mixing up the butter and sugar and then having the flour folded in. This is just a simple stir together recipe, but if you follow the instructions, it comes out perfectly every single time. All mixed up, we're gonna set our dry ingredients aside, grab another bowl, and get our wet ingredients together. Because this is a stir together recipe, we want our wet ingredients to be nice and melty. So in a large bowl, we're gonna add 3/4 of a cup or 170 grams of butter and just cut it into tablespoon sized pieces. My butter's all cut up and ready to melt. Little 15-second increments on your microwave, and you can give it a stir occasionally. And it does not have to be completely melted. It could be partially melted. It could be a pool of melted butter with little partially melted butter islands in the middle. That'll be totally fine. It might even be better than completely melted. In you go. To my mostly melted butter, I'm adding 1/2 cup of warmed milk. You don't want to add cold ingredients in this because the butter will just re-solidify. If you have solid little nodules of butter hanging out in a stir together recipe, once your cupcakes bake, those little nodules will become voids or holes and doesn't have the same beautiful, luscious crumb. I'm also adding 1/2 cup of my secret ingredient, and that's sour cream. This has been warmed up in the microwave. You could use room temperature sour cream, just not ice cold sour cream. To give our cupcake some structure, I'm using 3 egg whites. And if you're wondering why egg whites and not just whole eggs, it's really a matter of color. Egg yolks would just darken the cake, and I want it to be a little bit lighter in color. If you don't care about that, you could really just use 2 whole eggs and it'll be fine. Add your room temperature egg whites in, and we're gonna give this a really nice mix. So as you can imagine, I get a lot of birthday requests from my friends, and I have to tell you that these vanilla cupcakes are one of the most popular with all of my friends. They are so very good, and they just melt in your mouth in this rich, buttery vanilla symphony. It's so good. I love making them because they're really easy too. So it's like the quickest birthday treat ever. If you see the texture right now, it's a beautiful, silky, well-combined solution. No little granules hanging around because everything was the right temperature. I'm finishing off the mixture with a tablespoon of vanilla extract, and yes, this will darken things, but I don't care. It's gonna be so good. Mix that right in. Vanilla is the star ingredient here. It is the one flavor that you're gonna pick up besides butter. So really choose a nice vanilla. This is your moment for like your star best ingredient. Add the wet to the dry, and by the way, if things start looking a little funky in your wet ingredients, just pop it into the microwave and give it a mix. Like 20 seconds should do you just fine. I'm gonna use my spatula and fold this together gently. Besides mismeasuring your flour, over mixing your batter is the main problem people have in cakes and cupcakes. Oh my gosh, it just changes a melt in your mouth, wonderful tender crumb into something that's chewier, denser, gummier. And the sad thing is that like even the flavors just feel and taste different on your tongue, and you might not even recognize the recipe. So we're stirring this together just until the flour disappears. Look, I found a flour pocket. That's the nonsense we're talking about. My batter's come together, so grab your muffin tin and your cupcake papers, and it's time to get to work. Grab a triggered scoop, and we're gonna fill our cupcake papers about 2/3 of the way up. This recipe should yield approximately 16 cupcakes, but that depends on the size of your papers, and really, It's not always gonna be 16. Sometimes it'll be more, sometimes it'll be less. There's no rhyme or reason. I'm literally a cupcake expert, and I often get 11 cupcakes or muffins from a recipe that's supposed to make 12. I don't know why. I do know why. I overfill the papers. So by 16, I totally meant 12. 12-ish cupcakes. These might be totally overfilled, but I don't know. I feel like it's gonna work out. My cupcakes are ready to go into the oven, 350 for about 18 minutes or until the centers are springy to the touch. You keep an eye on those cupcakes because every oven is different. I would start checking around 15 minutes, might be a couple minutes less, might be a couple minutes more. And it also depends if you want them like golden on the outside or very pale and just set. It's up to you. In you go. My beautiful cupcakes are out of the oven and cooling, so that can only mean it's time to make the most delicious vanilla frosting ever. And here's the deal. Most recipes give you a tiny little bit of frosting to have tiny little swipes on the top, and that's fine. If that's what you like, you can have this recipe really easily. This is gonna give you enough frosting for a beautiful dollop on top, so you can go to town. This means we have 2 cups or 1 pound of butter right into our stand mixer, and this is a nice room temperature butter. I can press down with a little bit of effort, and it's leaving an indent, and that means it's gonna whip up really nicely. We're gonna cream the butter now because even though things look nice and soft, you never know if it's a trick. There could be a little bar of hard butter in the very middle. So mix it up on medium for maybe 30 seconds to a minute just to give it a head start. Okay, this looks nice and creamy. Right now, you should take a look at your powdered sugar. This is 7 cups, but you could use less if you wanted or more if you wanted. Nothing is gonna change. More powdered sugar means you have a stiffer, sweeter buttercream. Less powdered sugar means it'll be softer and less sweet. It's that easy. We're gonna add about 2 cups at a time of powdered sugar, mix it in, and then add more. Keep adding your sugar in batches. I'm adding a tablespoon of heavy cream right now. You could use milk or a combination of milk and cream. It's totally up to you. It could be a tablespoon of cream, a teaspoon of milk. It's really depending on how silky and slack you want the buttercream to be as opposed to stiff and pipeable. I'm adding the last bit of sugar in. We're gonna scrape the bowl down because things are very sweet on the top and very buttery on the bottom. Add a good pinch of salt. And for flavor, of course, I'm gonna add at least 1 teaspoon of vanilla. I really don't measure it out, so measure with your heart. 1 more scrape down. This looked a little thick, so I added just a drop of milk, and just like that, my frosting is ready for a taste test. It tastes great, but it was a little bit thick. I want it to be more thin so it just melts on your tongue in a moment. Add in a tablespoon of cream or milk and it'll be good to go. Much better. Transfer your buttercream to a piping bag. Mine's fitted with a large closed star tip. And now we're ready to pipe things up. Start from the center, work your way out, trace around the edge, and then go up in a spiral. That looks beautiful. Make a sandwich and it's ready to enjoy. Such simple flavors, but so delicious, indulgent, and decadent. I hope you had a chance to make this recipe, and if you like this video, check out my cupcake playlist.